Hey y'all, it's Alicia and welcome back to Alicia's Crafty Hoplop. And this is a teeny bit of a this and a that video. It's mostly because I'm excited to share with you a quick project share and mini tutorial on how I created a $1 Dollar Tree ISIS box. And because I'm hoping that it'll help all of you save money and have better craft storage. And you know, when left to my own devices, Alicia likes to save money, but I'm also like reorging my space for the holidays, and I realized a whole bunch of things. And so I played around for a week to figure out how to do this, and I'm excited to share with you. The other reason why I'm sharing a project, I'm going to try to share a project a day between now and Thursday or Friday, is originally we'd planned to do a craft retreat for Thanksgiving. And our idea was that so many of us are going to be with our families because we can't be with them because of COVID and the travel bans. Yes, there were 1 million people flying, but we decided that we were just going to observe the CDC warning and not travel, especially because I'm on 2 immunosuppressants. So it means we're going to be here alone. And we thought there were going to be a lot of people across the world alone for Thanksgiving. And although it's not celebrated outside of America on this date, people are alone. And so we all thought it would be great to do a craft retreat. But on our live on Sunday, a lot of people indicated that they're so excited for it, but they're not really up for it. It's been a time of inspiration struggle for a lot of my subscribers. And so I sort of did a quick poll. Do we want the retreat, or would we prefer to just do a craft live? And in the end, the craft live won out. It's not that we are not going to do the retreat. It's that we're going to do it at a later date when people have regained some of their crafty mojo, and that is why I'm going to try to do a project share or a mini tutorial between now and Friday, because I think that this is an affliction that's happening around the world. Alicia Love Letter Generation talked about the fact that she was struggling to find her mojo. I've had tons of my friends tell me they're struggling. It's about balancing our home life. It's about balancing kids being home or our partners being home 24/7. It's about having more cleaning to do because we're home all the time. It's about a lot of things and the weight of the world. So I'm hoping that these little mini shares and project shares and tutorials will inspire you. And instead, what we're going to do is we're going to do a craft live. Typically on Thursday, people do their Thanksgiving meals earlier in the day. So I'm going to set the craft live for 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Normally I would set it for 5 p.m. because that is best for people in the United Kingdom and in other parts of Europe. I'm going to set it for 6 to give people extra time who are having dinner with their families and want that extra time in America to be able to participate. So it was a compromise move. So we will be doing a craft live at 6 p.m. on Thursday to celebrate with one another Thanksgiving. We're going to craft, and I'm still prepping for the holidays, as you know, so I'm going to be doing more prep. I'm likely going to be doing paper rosettes, which I struggle with, and maybe some crepe paper to give myself a break because I can chat while I'm making those. But now, without further ado, let me share with you this amazing thing and what inspired it. So I have been spending a lot of time, as you know, trying to figure out craft storage, because I'm a messy maker, y'all. And my table right now is a hot mess, as you all know. And unless I have a set place for everything, I don't put things away properly. It's just a flaw of mine. My craft card is impeccably clean, and I've been using it all week. That's because there's a set spot for everything. All my inks are organized by type. That's perfectly organized. My stamps are perfectly organized. My dies are not bad. They could be better. But everything else is a hot mess. So I asked Misty how she stores her cards. Misty is my paper cuts, y'all. And again, Misty, like P, like Jelly Bean, like Judy, my scrapbook loft. Happy birthday, Miss Judy. Happy birthday. And Monty, the polka dot pine cone, they are like 25, 30-year veterans. They know a lot. Misty actually hasn't been crafting as long as the others, but she knows so much, so much. I feel like I go to Misty a lot for questions, just like I go to P a lot for questions, and Janice, Jelly Bean. And I'm sure they always say I'm never bothering them, but I ask them a lot, y'all, because I'm constantly trying to improve my system. Well, I never make a stash in advance, you all know that. But last year I worked really hard, and after Christmas I made Christmas cards to use for this year. And when we came down, they were bowed. And I was so upset. I sent my girlfriends a picture. I sent Misty a picture. I was so frustrated because I finally did it. I pre-made cards and I packaged them all, everything. And I stored them properly. And we keep our temperature here at 77 with low humidity. This shouldn't have happened. They all bowed. And putting them under a book didn't really fix it. So because they were dimensional, I was so upset. So I said to Misty, okay, girlie, show me what you used to store. But y'all, I'm in tight quarters here. I told you my husband was generous. He gave me the living room, but I don't have, our whole place is like 1,000 square feet. So I don't have space the way other people have spaces. I look at other people's craft rooms and I'm like, okay, I'm crafting in a public space, both in the living room and in the lanai. And I just don't have that kind of storage. So I did some searching and I found out that Michael's and Joann's carry this, although Michael's has more of them. This is called an ISIS card case. See, it's called a greeting card storage box. Now be warned, there are 2 sizes and they're the same price. I want to warn you about this. I got the large one, and the large one measures 10 5/8 by 9 1/4 by 7 1/4. So it's sizable. But you see, y'all, I can't have 10 of these. I can't even have 4 of these because between that and my bins and the cubbies in the living room, then I will be boxed out of our apartment. So putting all my stuff in this is not a good option. I got 1. That's it. And then I went and ordered a second one for a different spot that I can tuck in my cupboard. But I can't have more than that. Now they're great. They come with these plastic dividers. If you remember when Toni Craftpurge hauled her storage last year, her frustration where the slats didn't work, whatever, I remember because she bought something similar, not quite as well designed. This is well designed. Look, file folder so you can put a label with what you're storing. Mine are just cards, and I'm going to separate them out by things like, well, I'm never going to have a stash of cards like Misty. I'm never going to have 600 cards made, but I am going to have some made. So that's what I'm going to use this for. I actually emptied it to show you. Okay, so I can't have a bunch of these. They're too big. Plus, they're expensive. They're $20 when they're not on sale. I got mine for $11.99. Susan Tootsie Tucker managed to get them on clearance somehow at her Michael's. Ours didn't have these on clearance. They never do. My manager told me, don't ever hope for that. Never going to happen. All right, so that got me thinking. Because 2 years ago, Toni Craftpurge taught me how to make mini file folders. And I was like, okay, I just need the right kind of case. Well, at one of my DTs, they came out with this box. And I'm going to take out the file folders and I'm going to show you. So this is what the box looks like. It looks exactly like that case, almost, except it's a smaller version. That's what it looks like. And that was in the bin area. And it measures, just so you know, in inches, it is 5.5 wide by 4.5 height by 6 1/4 long. So 6 1/4 long. I want to make sure I'm being accurate. 4.5 height, and I know this one is 5 1/4 across. Now, the little bit of funkiness about this is, if you notice, is that it's a bit narrower up the bottom and a bit wider as it goes up. Kind of like a planter, so it goes like this. So you need to know that, because where I measured the 5 1/4, for instance, it's 5.5 at the top and 5 1/4 at the bottom. So you need to know that, and I'm going to explain to you why you need to know that. Okay. But I thought, could I make these into mini ISIS containers? And these are only $1. Well, I found out, yes, you can. How do you do that? Well, 2 years ago, Toni, otherwise known as Craftpurge, taught us how to make mini file folders. And if you can make a mini, you can make it any size. Thank you, Toni. So what I did was I invented, these are just on white 110. And I do have a label maker, but I find it takes me longer to use the label maker, and I'm not patient. So I just created my own little label. So it says snowflakes. I'm going to use these to hold my Christmas die cuts, right? So, okay. So how did I make this file folder? Well, I'm going to show you. I cut a piece of 110 cardstock, and I'll put the measurements down below so you don't need to write them down. Like this. It is the width is 4.5 inches. The length is 9 inches. So it's 4.5 by 9. Sorry, 4.5 by 9. Okay, so the next thing I did was I took my mini envelope punch board, and I'm going to do it right here with you. And you see how it's notched here, and it says, like, it has all the measurements, like 1 to 5. And by the way, you can use your regular punch board. You don't have to use the mini. I just grabbed the mini because it's in my cart. So I notched it at 2. When you're making a mini file folder, you notch it at 1. But for this, you want to notch it at 2. So what you do is you line it up to the 2. See how I've done that? Oh, that's not exactly accurate. There you go. That's at 2. And then you notch it. And see that notch? Okay. So now what you want to do is you want to cut this right across. Now when Toni does hers, she says just be careful, and I'm even using my crappy scissors just so you know, and I'm going to cut this. She just cuts hers, I'll show you how, perfectly across so that it lines up with where the notch is. So let me show you what that looks like. That would look like that. And that does look nice. But you see, I want to be able to properly label mine with a little label. So I actually go back after. If you like this nice neat one and you're going to use a label maker, then just do what Toni does. If you're like me and you want it a little deeper and you want to be able to put a label, then you go back very carefully and you trim it deeper and just bring it up. And then I like to round the corner a little because I like the way that looks better. That's just me. That's personal preference. And then all you do is fold it in half, and that makes a file folder that fits perfectly inside this box. So let me show you. I'm doing this in real time because I want you to see how easy this is. Okay, so there we have our file folder. Now all you have to do is make your little label. I just went to my scrap bin, found some paper, and cut them all at the same size and hand wrote them, right? This one says wreaths. This one says candy canes. Like, you know, that's what I did. Okay. A whole bunch, depending upon how many die cuts or whatever you store in here, ephemera, a whole bunch can fit in here. I guesstimate that even when I fill it, I could probably put 25 in here. So you see? And if you wanted to section it off, so this one is going to be all die cuts that are for die cuts for Christmas. So I don't want to section this one off. And I'll just show you that the lid fits on that with those dimensions perfectly. So you see, that's perfect. And there you have a $1 ISIS container. Not $11.99, not $20, $1 plus your cardstock. Okay. Well, if you wanted to section it off, I did a little test. I haven't wanted to do it, but you may want to. Here's what I did. I went and cut up one of our priority mailboxes because this is nice and stiff, and these are free. Okay, this is stiff cardboard. So you see that shape I was telling you about, that sort of floral, and this took a bit of fiddling with. This measures, I'll tell you, like 5 1/4 by 5 approximately. Now, why do I say approximately? I had to fiddle with this to make this work. I did. And you're gonna have to fiddle with it too, if you wanna put a divider in. I personally don't need the divider, but you might want to. Like, you might want to separate Christmas from birthday. You're gonna have to fiddle with it so that it fits perfectly and stays upward. For me, that's not such a priority because once I fill these with all my die cuts and I build it out, it's full enough that it just stands up. It's not as perfect a system because clearly, look, I'm gonna show you something. If you don't fill this up, right, when I close it, it's perfect. But when it's open, they fall over when they're full. Why is, if it's not full? Why? Because this ISIS box has, whoops, I'm always dropping stuff, y'all. Don't worry, it comes back on. Has built-in slats. You could potentially build these out of cardstock. I'm just not going to spend that much time doing it for organization, but you could. If you wanted it to be perfect, you could. I just wanted to show you that you don't have to spend $20 to have storage. So I wanted to do this quick project share and tutorial to show you if you want to make mini ISIS boxes like and again, for me, this was about storage size. I don't have the storage to have 6 of these ISIS boxes, or I would have them. I just don't have the room. And so these are perfect size for me. These I can have several of. So like I'm going to have this one for the holidays, like clearly for Christmas, but I also have some other die cuts that I use all the time. They're going to go in the other ones. It's a great way to organize and keep your die cuts organized. It's fantastic. So, and it's a lot less expensive. And again, we all have scrap cardstock that we can make these folders out of, and they're so simple to make. So I will put all the dimensions for this down below. The key is this container from the Dollar Tree. This is what it looks like. They only had blue at my store. I happen to love blue, so I was fine with that. but this is the only color they had. And so I'm hoping that if you have these at your store, then you too can make $1 ISIS storage. That, y'all, is my project share and my mini tutorial for today. Cost saving craft storage. Clearly, I'm thinking, because I still have a hot mess out there, I'm trying to make sure that all my holiday stuff is ready and organized, and I'm still clearing off that table. And the struggle is making sure everything has a place. So this was really helpful for me, super helpful. And that's why I'm hoping it's helpful for you too. Wishing you all such a happy day. It is Gobble Gobble week, and I want all of you to know how thankful I am for you. Each and every one of you I'm thankful for. So thankful. And for YouTube and the fact that we have each other. And I hope you'll join us for our Craft Live on Thanksgiving at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, y'all. Take real good care, and I'll see you later today. Bye for now.